Last video saw the end of the Gordon arc, and now it is time for the start of the Gregory arc.
So does Gregory also dislike tsunamis?
He might. Most of this next stage is us going through the same area of Blue Ridge City from a few missions ago, but as you'll see, there are some pretty notable differences this time around.
So when both Gregory and Gordon are down, is that GG's?
Yes.
Impressive. Sloppy as hell, but impressive. That's a serious compliment coming from a former combat pilot. You know how dangerous that makes me.
Oh, I don't like his animation.
I do like that nobody can seem to keep things to themselves. They're not very good at thinking things instead of saying them out loud.
I'll give you a lift away from that big-ass wave.
Have it your way. Die!
Oh, and you bet this part's playable.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so not only are we going to have to run around avoiding gunfire, but as you'll see, there are some overturned vehicles in the way, which we have to bait Gregory into beating those. I will say that surprisingly, the hitboxes on, especially on the bullets, not so much the missiles, but the gunfire itself is fairly forgiving. I think I show this off later, but also there are certain animations where Ray is invincible, including to Gregory's machine gun fire.
It's when he's slapping his cheeks, isn't it? Just do some deep breathing, that'll ward off any bullets.
You're surprisingly close, actually.
Oh man!
You're pretty tough. Eat my ballistics.
When you try to Google the phrase "eat my ballistics," literally every result on Google, all dozen or so of them, are just references to this cutscene. So I'm pretty sure it is unique in the history of the English language.
The Google result. There are dozens of us.
Literally dozens. I also managed to do a no damage run of this particular fight. Every boss has a special title that you can obtain for doing no damage runs. I know at some point I thought about it, but some of the later bosses are they require you to have like really late game weapons or just extreme precision.
That annoying son of a bitch!
I don't know, I bet you could heft a real precise rock and get the scores you need.
Almost better than the Hind fight in Metal Gear Solid.
Ricochet a teddy bear off that windshield.
And this came out in 2008, so technically this predates the infamous helicopter fights from 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. And this isn't the only one in the game either. I forget if there's a title for baiting Gordon or Gregory. I gotta mix those two names up constantly, aren't I? That was one of the invincibility animations, is eating burgers.
Sick.
I absolutely adore this set piece. It's exactly as long as it needs to be. Although, speaking of, our health bar was not nearly as long as it needed to be, so I made it a bit longer.
Well, yeah, there's a helicopter shooting at us. Need more health for this.
Shit, this is not working. Gotta beat him to it.
Look, I understand that everyone in this universe has to speak everything they think out loud, but you could at least turn the megaphone off before you do that.
That seems like a lot of work. I'm just gonna keep my thumb on the press to talk button.
Yeah, he's an ace pilot, not an ace megaphone operator. And just a little bit of backtracking, nothing too bad.
It looks like a second tsunami will be hitting the downtown area very soon. Residents should evacuate immediately to higher ground. We will continue this broadcast as late as possible. People who are still in the city should take refuge now.
I love it when that happens.
I don't think I'm ready for Tsunami 2 Hydraulic Boogaloo.
Oh, I don't think I heard the squish noises before. Ugh.
He gums that burger.
Yeah, Ray eating giant burger ASMR video.
Oh. I'm less fond of the burgers now.
Yeah, in editing, I'm gonna make sure that noise is nice and loud.
Ugh.
Thank you.
Oh, Ray slops them up real good. Jesus.
I've been binge watching Dan Olson's videos recently, and he had one on the nature of cooking shows, etc. And part of that involved some jokes about, you know, making elaborate cooking videos for things like how to microwave pizza pops and stuff like that. And the escalation, or the main punchline of that joke is him ending with how to make the perfect can of soda, which is him opening up the tab and then very, very close to the microphone slurping down the Coke.
So first thing you want to do is hook the tab with your middle finger or maybe your index finger, then pull that tab up to open the can. And that's pretty much it.
It is a sound that, I mean, I love folding ideas. I love that channel, but that sound will haunt my nightmares for the rest of my living days.
Yeah, you don't unhear that easily.
Anyway, it's really only like this one block that we have to backtrack through. And I can say that at the end of the collapsed building over here, there's a brand new set piece.
The tidal wave is flooding the city. We're forced to terminate this broadcast and evacuate. Residents who are still in the city area, you must go to higher ground now. May God be with you all.
At this rate, if you wait around for long enough, you might catch Tsunami 3. If the Tsunami franchise is anything to go by, it will probably be the worst one. And will kowtow to fan demands from people screaming on the internet.
Oh, please tell me he's gonna outrun it. Oh,
Yes.
Oh, I love this. And remember the speed boost mechanic from, I think it was last video. That also applies here. So again, if you're playing along at home, never stop waggling the gear remote during this section, because it is always registering your inputs.
And if you are playing along at home, I'm honestly surprised at how well you're synchronizing your gameplay with our videos. Look at that, the viewer jumped across the same time you did.
Yeah, it's uncanny. I'm telling you, there must be time travel involved. It's the only explanation. Anyway, this is just the start of our journey with Greg. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna remember it. The second letter in Greg's name is R, as in rotor blades, as in a helicopter.
perfect.
I already forgot the other guy's name. I'm sorry.
His name was Dan
There is
Southworth.
only Greg.
You can keep only one character with the first letter of G in your mind at any given time.
Here.
Yeah, it's
There's
Greg.
only
There he
Greg.
is.
Oh, bye, Greg.
You were in a helicopter.
What?
So there's only like 2 or 3 of these kinds of set pieces. They're pretty simple, but the spectacle kind of helps to sell it. The things kind of do fall apart once you realize just how generous the motion controls are. Like, I was deliberately waiting here a bit, but as long as you, because left and right are the only inputs here, so as long as you just keep waggling back and forth. Oh, and I guess there's an up as well. Though do keep in mind that our lungs were filling up with water in the top left corner. That's going to be important for a later similar set piece to this. In, I don't know how many videos it is, but it'll show up eventually.
I made it. But... survivor.
In a city so obviously based on San Francisco, this is the first obviously downhill section of the city.
Right.
The waves. What a mess. The whole town's gone.
Well, I guess we're in Vienna now.
Oh no!
Now this is interesting. That's actually that's a scripted event that needs to happen in order to cross. I don't know. There's a couple of instances in this level where they play around with that idea, but I feel like maybe it could have been telegraphed a bit better.
Yeah.
Now, I forget if I actually show it off in this video, but falling into the stream here it's treated the same way that, you fall into a bottomless pit in a modern video game where it just does a bit of damage, but respawns you where you left off.
Oh.
So this level is just you going back and forth along this narrow, I guess now it's a canal thanks to the flood damage. But it's actually kind of fun because the level geometry really plays around with the height differences in a way that, is a bit more forgivable. Yep, that's another one we need to hit.
Hello.
An identical piece of
Yeah.
detritus.
Right, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but in a similar way that extreme heat will cause stamina to drain faster, same thing happens with extreme cold. I guess because of the flood damage and the water.
You're soaked to the bone, and
Yep.
you're air drying, and that's bad.
Thankfully, the Stamina's 30 steroids are here to help. Anyway, let's go rescue this kid up here, who has one of my favorite NPC names in the entire game.
Hang in there.
Oh,
Moses Morrison Jr.?
That sounds like the name of an American Death Note character. Like, specifically how, like, the American characters have names that are supposed to sound weird in English, but okay in Japanese. Like, Moses Morrison. Either that or his dad was just a jackass and insisted that his kid be named after him.
for some reason, the direction I thought you were going was unless his dad's a jackass and decided to call him a junior despite not sharing the name.
I mean, that's also possible.
I'm giving you the name I wish I had. I've mentioned before how the platforming in this game is kind of bad. It's okay, but I think that's entirely because of the level design here. The controls still suck for jumping, but whatever.
Help! Someone please help me!
I think we found the boyfriend.
Better hurry.
Either that or the kid we found earlier was the boyfriend, and then maybe we should probably just leave the woman to die in that case.
Oh, the rubber ring. You mean like the one Rosa Parker had with her?
Yes, the one rubber ring to rule them all. Amazing how we found it just lying here in Blue Ridge City. I absolutely love this. This is not the last time that there will be an arbitrary countdown timer with no like really justified reason. Like the guy isn't in any worse shape than when we found him originally, so why would there be a timer now other than to make this interesting, I guess, platforming section more tense? That was actually really close. Holy shit. As someone who's put way too many hours into this game, I have no idea how the hell I got away with that jump.
Really well done, though. Like, that was practiced.
Mm-hmm. All right, time to go all the way back down. And this time, let's take some shortcuts.
Hell yeah, speedrun strats.
Yep. There are some speedruns for this game. For a long time, the only speedrun for this game was a New Game Plus run on Speed Demos Archive. And that was on Real Disaster, the hardest difficulty, and had like a fully maxed out Ray with all the maxed out weapons. And then I think there have been a couple of new game runs since then.
Grab it!
I have to imagine that whoever speedruns this game has very strong arms as a result of all that practice. The most jacked speedrunners you'll ever see, but only in the torso area. Where skipping leg day implies that there was a leg day to skip to begin with.
Oh,
Bye,
Ray, you
Ray!
fool.
An exchange of souls. By saving a life, he has to give up his own. Yeah, all this camera work is entirely scripted. I'm not... The only input you have here is the motion controls.
Were those helicopter rotors still going?
Yep. Oh, great. Gregory is not just any regular helicopter pilot. He's one who insists that his vehicle is like an ongoing DIY project. I hope you're ready for a very stupid but very fun boss fight.
Damn, my helicopter. That was a monster tsunami. No avoiding it. Not even with all my experience.
No one here knows how to pronounce tsunami correctly, do they?
You're gonna pay for this, pal. You're getting a burial at sea.
Part 1 or part 2? I have to make multiple purchases. I can't experience the entire DLC in one transaction.
The tsunami didn't get him. What a persistent bastard.
So, Gregory, this boss fight is actually a bit tricky. It starts out rather conventionally, but as we will see soon enough, there is a bit of a gimmick or puzzle to his fight.
What's wrong? You gonna die out there? God damn it! You're no amateur.
I forget whether I mentioned it, but the aiming stat for guns determines how long you can stay in the concentration zoom mode before it kicks you out.
Damn! Hey! Know what this is?
It's that remote that Gex the Gecko uses, isn't it?
Listen carefully. This is the bomb. This is the detonator. With a simple push of the button, boom! If you shoot me,
It's gonna be tail time!
we go sky high.
But we've already shot him. several times.
Shoot me!
I absolutely adore this fight. Everything about it. Everything about Gregory, really. He is the most insane member of Surge. And also, yeah, that's not an idle threat. He will detonate the bomb.
I'm taking you with me!
Oh my god.
No, I just can't die like this.
Which also leads to probably my favorite design decision in the entire game. You can retry from any previous checkpoint in the level.
Oh.
Which, that was really useful when I was recording a couple of times. But, I mean, obviously, if you go back to checkpoint 3, you can't reload checkpoint 4, but it does give you the option to go back if you miss something, which I think is really neat. I'm sure there's other games that have something similar to that, but I can't think of them at the moment. So we are unable to shoot Gregory directly. So instead, we have to shoot some of these boxes in the water. And that will distract him and leads to him shooting at the water tower above us, as demonstrated in the earlier cutscene.
I honestly thought those were the remnants of his helicopter, and we were shooting it to piss him off. Oh.
Well, that works too.
Trying to do, piece of shit!
I'm trying to make for a more interesting boss fight. Give me a chance.
No use in hiding.
This is so weird.
It is.
I mean, it's
I love
clever.
it. It's pure light gun bullshit, and I adore it.
Oh yeah.
No use in hiding. Go to hell!
And that's the other gimmick, similar to the dual Humvees that shot like cannonballs at us. Gregory will throw grenades, and that is unusually important for an unlockable that we'll see later in the video.
Oh shit, we're underwater again.
Well, Gregory, was fun while it lasted.
Gregory Killer.
Now, I've gotten several important titles here. However, there is one more item that we can get from the Gregory fight. And it is, well, it is one of a few unique weapons with specific gimmicks that cannot be upgraded. And in order to unlock it, we have to shoot Gregory's grenades out of the air 10 times in a single fight.
Oh, jeez.
And there are other bosses that have similar gimmicks. I did not record those, but they are just as annoying as this looks.
Go to hell!
Yeah, the best way to get this item is just to not shoot at the weak point on the right, and instead just wait for him to throw grenades. Because he's pretty much guaranteed to do that attack at some point, as long as that the barrier on the right hasn't been shot up. It's more of a test of patience than anything. Not a big fan. However, the name of the weapon that we unlock is pretty cool.
Okay.
Deep impact.
Mm-hmm. So we're not going to be seeing that weapon for a while yet. There's a dedicated video where I show off, well, not all, but like the majority of the specific gimmick weapons. So weapons like that, you can't upgrade them at all, but they have fixed stats, and they also have something unique about them. Specifically, I believe the Deep Impact, I think it has like a way bigger magazine size than any of the other assault rifles. and I think it has better recoil in exchange for less damage. But we'll see it in towards the end of the LP. I'll show that off along with a couple of the other weapons of a similar type.
I would think something named Deep Impact would have better stopping power.
Yeah, I will say that it is not the only unlockable weapon named after a 90s disaster movie. There's at least two others I could think of, which we'll see much later.
Nice.
It will leave a deep impact in our lives.
Oh!
Oh,